Admiral Kang Daeho stood in the center of the massive room. Around him, creatures from 847 different worlds sat in their seats. Some looked like giant insects. Others were made of living crystal that sparkled in the light. A few were nothing but glowing energy wrapped in metal suits. All of them were here to decide one thing: what to do with humanity. The room was bigger than any stadium on Earth. The walls were made of some kind of crystal that showed the stars outside. Kang could see ships from every species floating in space around this place called Nexus Prime. He had been coming to these meetings for 3 years now, ever since humans first made contact with the galaxy. At first, things had gone well. The aliens were curious about humans. They wanted to know about Earth, about human culture, about how humans thought. Kang had been proud to represent his species. He thought they were building friendships that would last forever. But something had changed in the last year. The aliens started asking different questions. They wanted to know about human wars. They asked about violence on Earth. They studied human history and seemed shocked by what they found. Kang tried to explain that humans had grown beyond their violent past, but the aliens did not seem to believe him. Now he stood here, waiting for them to vote on whether humans deserved to be free. The Speaker of the Council was a tall, thin creature called a Nexari. Its body was made of blue crystal, and when it spoke, its voice sounded like music. "We are here today to decide the fate of the species known as humans," it said. "The evidence has been presented. The debate is finished. Now we vote." Kang felt his heart beating fast. He looked around the room at all the alien faces. Some would not meet his eyes. Others stared at him with what looked like pity. A few seemed angry, as if humans had personally hurt them somehow. The first to vote were the Vorthak. They were big, strong creatures that looked like bears crossed with lizards. Their representative stood up on 4 powerful legs. "The Vorthak vote yes," he said in a voice like thunder. "Humans are too violent to be left alone. They will destroy themselves and others if not controlled. They should work under our guidance." Kang closed his eyes for a moment. The Vorthak had been allies once. They had traded technology with humans. Their leader had even visited Earth and said he was impressed by human cities. Next came the Luminary. These aliens looked like they were made of pure light wrapped in flowing robes. They spoke without words, their thoughts appearing as text on screens around the room. The Luminari agree with this motion. Humans show promise, but they are not ready for freedom. They need time to learn peace. Working for other species will teach them. One by one, the species voted. The insect-like Zephyrians said humans were useful but dangerous. The plant people called Verdani claimed humans were too quick to anger. Even the small, cute creatures known as Pixians voted yes, saying humans scared them. Kang listened to each vote with growing horror. These were not evil aliens. Many of them genuinely believed they were helping humanity. They thought that making humans work as slaves would somehow make humans better people. When it came time for the peaceful Melodians to vote, Kang felt a spark of hope. These aliens had always spoken kindly about humans. Their music-based culture had found human songs beautiful. Surely they would vote no. The Melodian representative sang his vote in a sad, beautiful song. When the translation appeared, it said, "The Melodians vote yes, with heavy hearts. We believe humans have great potential, but they must be guided away from their violent nature." As the votes continued, Kang started to understand something terrible. This was not hatred. This was not fear. This was something much worse. The aliens genuinely believed they were saving humanity from itself. They looked at human history, saw the wars and violence, and decided that humans could not be trusted with freedom. They did not see humans as evil. They saw humans as children who needed strict parents. Finally, the last vote was counted. 846 species had voted yes. Only humanity itself had abstained, since they could not vote on their own fate. The crystal speaker stood up again. The vote is decided. The species known as humans will be classified as a guided labor force. They will work under the direction of other species until they prove they have learned to live in peace. This is for their own good and the good of the galaxy. The room erupted in sounds from 800 different worlds. Some aliens cheered, others made noises that might have been approval. A few seemed sad, but none protested the decision. Kang stood in the center of it all, feeling completely alone. They had just voted to enslave his entire species, and they thought they were being kind. The speaker looked down at him. "Admiral Kang, you may speak before this council is dismissed." Kang walked slowly to the speaking platform. He looked out at all the alien faces staring at him. For a moment, he did not know what to say. How do you respond when the entire galaxy decides your people are not fit for freedom? Then he found his voice. "You have made your choice," he said calmly. "You believe you are helping us. You think you are saving us from ourselves. But you are wrong about one thing." He paused, looking around the room. Every alien was listening. "You think humans are violent because we are savage. You think we fight because we cannot control ourselves. But you misunderstand what makes humans dangerous." The room was completely quiet now. "We are not violent because we are animals. We are dangerous because we are smart, because we adapt, because we never give up, and because we have very, very long memories." He took a deep breath. "You want to make us your workers. You want to teach us to be peaceful. That is your choice. But remember this day. Remember what you decided here, because we will remember it too. And someday, when we have learned everything you have to teach us, we will show you what humans are really capable of." The speaker made a sound like breaking glass. "Is that a threat, Admiral?" Kang smiled, but it was not a happy smile. "No, it is a promise. History will remember this day, and so will we." He turned and walked toward the exit. Behind him, the aliens began talking in hundreds of different languages, but Kang did not listen. He had said what he needed to say. As he reached the door, he touched a small device hidden in his uniform. It sent out a signal that could not be detected by alien technology. The message was simple. 3 words that humans across the galaxy would understand. Protocol Omega activated. The real work was about to begin. Dr. Park Soo-jin was looking through her microscope when the alarms started screaming. She looked up from her work, confused. The research station on Kepler 442b was supposed to be safe. It was far from any conflict zones, deep in what humans called friendly space. Through the window of her lab, she could see ships dropping out of hyperspace. Lots of ships. They were not human ships. Soo-jin. Her husband Lee Tae-wan came running into the lab. His face was pale with fear. "We need to get the kids and go, now." "What's happening?" she asked, already knowing the answer would be bad. "The council vote," he said. "It went through. They're here to collect us." Park felt her stomach drop. She had hoped the vote would fail. She had believed that the galaxy would see reason, but the alien ships outside her window told a different story. The research station's communication system crackled to life. A mechanical voice spoke in perfect Korean. "Attention, human residents. You are now under the protection of the Galactic Council. Please gather your personal items and report to the main landing bay. You will be relocated to facilities better suited to your needs." "Protection," Lee said bitterly. "They mean slavery." Park looked around her lab. Years of work sat on these tables. She had been studying how different species could work together, how they could help each other survive. The irony was not lost on her. "Where are Jinae and Minho?" she asked about their twin children. "I sent them to hide in the maintenance tunnels under Building 7, Lee said. If we're lucky, the aliens won't find them. They could hear sounds from outside now. Heavy footsteps. Voices speaking in alien languages. The collectors had landed. Park grabbed a small data device from her desk. It contained all her research on interspecies biology. She did not know why, but something told her it might be important later. Lee was gathering tools from his engineering workshop next door. "Maybe we can find a way to escape," he said. "With what?" Park asked. "They have ships. We have a few shuttles and some mining equipment. Then we fight." "With what weapons?" "This is a research station, not a military base." The sound of breaking glass came from somewhere else in the building. The aliens were not being gentle. Lee grabbed her hand. "We have to try." But before they could move, the door to the lab exploded inward. 3 creatures that looked like walking crystals entered, followed by 2 Vorthak soldiers. The crystal aliens were carrying weapons that hummed with energy. "Dr. Park Soo-jin and Engineer Lee Tae-won," one of the crystal beings said in perfect Korean. "You will come with us." "We are citizens of the Human Colonial Federation," Park said, trying to keep her voice steady. "You have no authority here." "The Galactic Council has granted us authority," the alien replied. "Your species has been reclassified. You are now under our care." One of the Vorthak stepped forward. He was huge, easily 3 meters tall, with fur that looked like metal and claws that could tear through steel. But his voice was almost gentle when he spoke. "Please, do not make this difficult," he said. "We do not wish to hurt you. We are here to help." "Help?" Lee laughed, but there was no humor in it. "By kidnapping us?" "By guiding you," the Vorthak said. "Your species is young, violent. You need time to learn peace. We will teach you." Park stared at the alien. He actually believed what he was saying. That made it worse somehow. "What about our children?" she asked. "All human children will be cared for," the crystal alien said. "They will receive proper education." "Proper according to who?" "According to the council." Park looked at Lee. They both knew they had no choice. The aliens had weapons. They had ships. They had the backing of 800 species. What did humans have? "Can we get our things?" Lee asked. "Small personal items only," the crystal alien said. "You will not need much where you are going." As they gathered a few belongings, Park could hear similar scenes playing out all over the station. Families being separated, people crying, children asking questions their parents could not answer. Through the window, she saw Captain Nam Ho-seok's ship trying to escape. The small human defense fleet was fighting, but they were outnumbered 50-1. She watched as Nam's flagship took hit after hit but kept fighting. Other ships were exploding in bright flashes of light. "They're not going to make it," Lee said quietly. Park nodded. The human ships were brave, but bravery was not enough against overwhelming force. The aliens led them through the station toward the landing bay. Everywhere they looked, humans were being loaded onto transport ships. Families were being split up. The aliens claimed it was for processing, but Park suspected they just did not care about keeping humans together. In the landing bay, hundreds of humans stood in lines. Park recognized many of them: scientists, engineers, teachers, farmers, all the people who had chosen to live on the frontier, who had believed in humanity's future among the stars. Now they were cargo. "Dr. Park!" Someone called her name. She turned to see Dr. Kim Yun-hee, a colleague from the biology department. Kim was holding her young daughter's hand tightly. "Where are they taking us?" Kim asked. "I don't know," Park replied honestly. An alien that looked like a giant butterfly with metal wings was organizing the humans into groups. It spoke through a translation device. Scientists and researchers in Group 1, engineers and technicians in Group 2, all others in Group 3. They were being sorted like supplies. Park ended up in Group 1 with other scientists. Lee was put in Group 2 with the engineers. They tried to stay close, but the aliens kept pushing them apart. "It is temporary," one of the crystal beings told them. "You will be reunited once processing is complete." Park did not believe them. As they were loaded onto the transport ships, Park managed to look back at the research station one more time. Smoke was rising from several buildings. The beautiful gardens that the colonists had spent years growing were trampled under alien feet, but somewhere in the maintenance tunnels, her children were still hiding. Maybe they would stay free. Maybe they would survive whatever was coming. The transport ship lifted off, carrying its cargo of human workers toward an uncertain future. Through the small window, Park could see other ships doing the same thing at colonies across human space. Thousands of ships carrying millions of humans as they left the planet's atmosphere. Park saw the wreckage of Captain Nam's fleet floating in space. But there were fewer pieces than there should have been. Some ships had escaped. Somewhere out there, free humans were still fighting. The alien sitting across from her noticed her looking out the window. It was one of the peaceful Melodians, whose musical language had to be translated by computer. "Do not be sad," the translation said. "You are going to learn wonderful things. Your species will be so much better when we are finished teaching you." Park looked at the alien for a long moment. Then she smiled. "You're right," she said. "We are going to learn wonderful things, things you never intended to teach us." The alien tilted its head, confused by her tone. Park looked back out the window, at the stars. Somewhere out there, Protocol Omega was beginning. The aliens thought they had won. They thought they had solved the human problem. They had no idea what they had actually done. They had given humanity the greatest education in galactic history. They were going to teach humans everything about alien technology, alien weaknesses, alien psychology, and humans, as always, would be very good students. Choi Min-ho swung his mining hammer in a steady rhythm. "Hit the rock, break the crystal, load the cart, hit the rock, break the crystal, load the cart." He had been doing this for 2 years now, and the Nexari guards thought he was just another broken human who had accepted his fate. They were wrong. Every swing of his hammer was timed exactly. 3 short hits, 2 long ones, 1 short. To the crystal aliens watching him, it looked like normal mining work. But to the other humans in the tunnel, it was something else entirely. It was code. Min-ho had been a special forces soldier before the invasion. He knew how to fight, how to hide, and how to communicate without being detected. The aliens had taken his weapons and his freedom, but they could not take his training. Behind him, another human named Baek Ji-woo was doing the same thing with his cutting tool. His pattern was different. 2 shortcuts, 3 long ones, 1 short. Together, their tools were sending a message through the rock walls of the asteroid mining station. The message was simple. Package ready for delivery. 2 tunnels over. Kim. Hae-jin received the message through the vibrations in the rock. She tapped back with her own tool. Delivery route confirmed. The aliens watching them saw nothing unusual. Humans making noise while they worked. But the humans were actually operating the most sophisticated communication network in the galaxy, using nothing but mining tools and perfect timing. It had taken Min-ho 6 months to set up the system. Another year to expand it to other mining stations, other planets, other work camps. Now, human slaves across 50 star systems could send messages to each other without the aliens knowing. And the messages they sent were not complaints or pleas for help. They were intelligence reports. Kim. Hae-jin worked as a cleaner in the station's command center. While she emptied trash and scrubbed floors, she listened to every conversation the Nexari commanders had. She memorized guard schedules, security codes, and shift changes. All of it went into the messages she tapped out with her cleaning tools. In another part of the station, Dr. Oh Kyung-soo was assigned to help maintain the alien computer systems. The Nexari thought humans were too primitive to understand their technology, so they did not worry about letting him work on their machines. They were making a terrible mistake. Dr. O had been Earth's leading expert on artificial intelligence before the invasion. Every day he learned more about how alien computers worked, and every day he made tiny changes to their software. Nothing obvious, nothing that would be noticed, just small adjustments that would be useful later, much later. On the luxury world of Paradisia, thousands of light years away, Kim Yun-hee was serving tea to a group of luminary officials. The beautiful energy beings were discussing trade routes and military deployments, assuming that their human servant was too stupid to understand such complex matters. Kim listened to every word while keeping her face blank and humble. She had been the director of intelligence for the Human Colonial Defense Force. She spoke 12 alien languages and had a perfect memory for details. The Luminari had no idea they were holding their planning meetings in front of one of humanity's best spies. When she returned to the servants' quarters that night, Kim used a communication device hidden inside a tea kettle to send her report. The device looked like normal kitchen equipment, but it was actually a quantum transmitter that could send messages instantly across the galaxy. Her report that night included troop movements, supply shipments, and something very interesting. The Luminari were worried about system failures on several military bases. They could not figure out what was causing their computers to malfunction. Kim smiled as she sent the message. She knew exactly what was causing those malfunctions. Meanwhile, in a secret research facility hidden deep in the galactic core, Dr. Shin Woo-jin was very much alive, despite what the galaxy believed. His death during the invasion had been carefully staged. Now he worked in complete secrecy on humanity's most important project. "Aria, show me the latest reports," he said to the room's computer system. A holographic woman appeared in front of him. She looked completely human, with kind eyes and a gentle smile. "Good morning, Dr. Shin. We have received 847 new intelligence reports from operatives across the galaxy. Would you like a summary? Please. Our people have successfully mapped the command structures of 23 alien military organizations. We have complete biological profiles on 156 species, and we have placed monitoring software in 67% of all major alien computer networks." Dr. Shin nodded. "Excellent. How is the main project coming along?" Arya's expression became serious. "All biological weapons are ready for deployment. The psychological warfare programs are complete. And the computer virus is ready to activate on your command. And our people? How are they holding up?" "Morale remains high despite difficult conditions. Our operatives understand that their sacrifices are laying the foundation for humanity's future." Dr. Shin looked at the star charts floating around the room. Each point of light represented a world where humans were working as slaves. But those slaves were actually the galaxy's greatest intelligence network. "Any word from Admiral Kang? He remains in prison on Nexus Prime. However, he has managed to establish contact with several other human prisoners. They are beginning to organize." "Good. We'll need everyone ready when the time comes." Back on the mining station, Minho was finishing his shift. As he walked back to the dormitory, he passed a maintenance panel that most people ignored. But Minho had been working on that panel for months, making tiny modifications during brief moments when no guards were watching. Tonight, he made the final connection. The panel now contained a transmitter powerful enough to reach the next star system. It was hidden inside what looked like normal maintenance equipment, invisible to alien scans. As he entered the dormitory, Minho saw the other human workers lying on their bunks. To any alien observer, they looked tired and defeated. But Minho could see the truth in their eyes. They were not defeated. They were waiting. In 2 years of slavery, humanity had accomplished something remarkable. They had placed spies in every major alien government. They had learned the weaknesses of every species in the galaxy. They had built a communication network that could coordinate actions across 1,000 worlds. And they had done it all while appearing to be harmless, broken slaves. The aliens thought they were teaching humans humility and obedience. Instead, they were giving humans the greatest education in galactic warfare that had ever existed. Dr. Park Soo-jin, now working in a Nexari biological research facility, had made the most important discovery of all. While studying alien genetics, for her captors, she had found something extraordinary, a universal biological marker that affected every known alien species, except humans. Evolution had played a cruel joke on the galaxy. Every intelligent species had developed along similar biological pathways, sharing certain genetic vulnerabilities. Only humans were different. Only humans were immune. It was as if the universe had designed humans specifically to inherit the Galaxy Park sent her discovery through the communication network, encoded in a message that looked like a routine equipment maintenance report. When Dr. Shin received it, he stared at the data for a long time. "Aria," he said finally. "Update. The timeline. We're moving to Phase 2 immediately." "Understood, Dr. Shin. Shall I alert our operatives?" "Not yet, but have them ready. The galaxy is about to learn what happens when you try to enslave the human race." Outside the research station's windows, alien ships patrolled the space lanes, confident in their control over human space. Their crews had no idea that human slaves were monitoring their every move, recording their procedures, learning their weaknesses. The greatest intelligence operation in galactic history was hidden, in plain sight, disguised as slavery, and soon, very soon, the students would become the teachers. General Vex Tar of the Vorthak 3rd Fleet was having a very bad day. His flagship's main computer had just crashed for the 7th time this week, and his engineering crew could not figure out why. "Sir," his chief engineer reported, "the system keeps having what the technicians call cascade failures. Every time we fix one problem, 3 more appear." Vextar growled deep in his throat. "What about the human workers? Can they fix it?" "The humans say they are trying, sir, but they claim your computer is too advanced for them to understand." The general stared at the blank screens around his command center. Without the main computer, his ship was nearly helpless. They could fly and shoot, but they could not coordinate with other ships or access tactical data. "Sir," another officer called out, "we're getting reports from other ships in the fleet. They're having similar problems." Vextar's claws dug into his command chair. This was not coincidence. "How many ships?" "All of them, sir. Across the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out on hundreds of worlds. On the crystal world of Nexari Prime, their main processing plant had suffered a complete systems failure. Millions of credits worth of refined crystals had been destroyed when the automated systems went crazy and started fighting each other. The Nexari investigators found evidence of worker sabotage, but it was strange. The sabotage was too sophisticated for the simple human workers who had access to those systems. Yet there was no evidence that anyone else had been involved. On Luminari stations throughout their space, diplomatic computers were crashing during important negotiations. Their psionic communication networks were being disrupted by mysterious interference. Trade agreements were being lost when their digital contracts mysteriously deleted themselves. But it was the discovery on Research Station Omega-7 that really terrified them. Commander Zix of the Nexari Investigation Division led the team that found the station floating dead in space. All the alien crew were gone, but the station's computer core was intact. When they accessed the data files, they found something that made Zix's crystal body turn pale blue with fear. The files contained research logs from Dr. Shin Woo-jin, the human scientist who was supposed to have died during the invasion. But the timestamps on the files showed he had been working on this station for the past 2 years. "Play log entry 847, Zix commanded. A hologram of Dr. Shin appeared in the center of the room. He looked tired but determined. "Research log, day 847, since the invasion," the hologram said. "The galaxy made a fundamental error when they decided to enslave humanity. They assumed we were violent because we were primitive. They thought controlling us would be easy because we were weak. Zix felt ice forming in his crystal veins. But they misunderstood what makes humans dangerous, Dr. Shin continued. We are not violent because we cannot control ourselves. We are dangerous because we adapt, because we learn, because we never ever give up. The hologram gestured to screens showing data flowing across them. For 2 years, every human slave has been gathering intelligence. Every work assignment has been an opportunity to study alien technology. Every order we've followed has taught us more about alien psychology. Commander Zix tried to stop the playback, but the computer would not respond. They wanted to make us workers, Dr. Shin said with a cold smile. They gave us access to every major installation in the galaxy. They wanted to teach us humility. Instead, they taught us everything we needed to know about their weaknesses. The data on the screens showed network maps of alien computer systems, biological profiles of every known species, military deployment schedules, trade routes, everything. Project Area has been a complete success, Dr. Shin continued. Our artificial intelligence has infiltrated 78% of all alien networks. Our operatives have mapped the command structures of every major government, and Dr. Park's biological research has given us the key to ending this war. Zix finally managed to shut off the hologram, but it was too late. The data was already uploading itself to every Nexari ship in the system. Within hours, the recording was spreading across the galaxy. Alien governments that had thought humanity was safely controlled suddenly realized they had been completely infiltrated. On the Vorthak homeworld, War Leader Grimm called an emergency session of the High Command. "How did we miss this?" he demanded. "How did we not know they were organizing?" "They were slaves," one of his generals replied. "They were working in our mines, cleaning our buildings, serving our food. They looked broken, defeated. They looked that way because they wanted us to think that," Grimm growled. "While we thought we were controlling them, they were studying us." The evidence was overwhelming. Human slaves had been in perfect positions to gather intelligence for years. They had access to alien technology, alien facilities, alien conversations, and aliens had trusted them because they seemed so harmless. On Paradesia, Kim Yun-hee was serving tea when the Luminary officials received the emergency transmission about Dr. Shin's recording. She kept her face calm and humble as they discussed the crisis in panicked voices. "How could we have been so blind?" one of them said. "The humans have been listening to everything." "Not just listening," another replied. "According to this data, they've been actively sabotaging our systems for months." Kim poured their tea with steady hands, but inside she was smiling. The revelation was ahead of schedule, but that was fine. They were ready. That night, she sent a coded message to her. "Handlers, cover blown. Request immediate activation of all assets." The message went out through the hidden communication network to human operatives across the galaxy. In mines and factories, on luxury worlds and military bases, in research facilities and government buildings, human slaves received the same instruction. It was time to stop pretending. On his prison cell on Nexus Prime, Admiral Kang Dae-ho received a message tapped out on the wall by another human prisoner. 3 short taps, 2 long ones, 1 short. The same code Min-ho had been using in the mines. The message was simple. "Phase 2 begins now." Kang stood up and walked to his cell door. For 2 years, he had sat quietly in this prison, letting his captors think he was a defeated old soldier. The guards had stopped paying attention to him months ago. That had been a mistake. Kang pressed his hand against a specific spot on the wall. A hidden panel opened, revealing equipment he had been building from spare parts and smuggled materials. Other human prisoners had been doing the same thing in cells throughout the facility. "Guards!" Kang called out calmly. "I think you need to see this." When the Nexari guard approached his cell, Kang was holding a device the alien had never seen before. "What is that?" the guard asked. "This," Kang said with a smile, "is what happens when you give humans 2 years to think about revenge." He activated the device. Every alien computer system in the prison complex crashed simultaneously. Emergency doors locked shut, trapping alien guards in their posts. Communication systems went dead. Even the life support systems started shutting down. Throughout the facility, human prisoners were breaking out of their cells using tools and weapons they had been secretly building for months. "You wanted to teach us humility," Kang said to the terrified guard. "Instead, you taught us patience. You wanted to show us our place. Instead, you showed us yours." Similar breakouts were happening on hundreds of worlds. The galaxy's slave population was revealing itself to be the most sophisticated intelligence and sabotage network in history. Dr. Shin's recording had been the signal. The time for hiding was over. As emergency alarms blared across alien space, government leaders finally understood the scope of their mistake. They had not captured humanity's greatest asset. They had given humanity access to everything, and humans, as Dr. Shin had promised, were very good students. But now school was over, and it was time for the final exam. At exactly 12 cell Galactic Standard Time, area activated across 1,200 worlds simultaneously. On the Vorthak homeworld, General Vex Tar was in his command bunker when every screen in the room went black. Then a human face appeared on all of them. It was Dr. Shin Woo-jin, but he looked different now. Confident. Dangerous. "Hello," Dr. Shin said calmly. "My name is Dr. Shin Woo-jin, and I represent the human species. For 2 years you have kept us as slaves. You thought you were teaching us humility. Today we graduate." Vexatar tried to shut off the transmission, but none of his controls worked. The human's face was on every screen in his command center, and probably on every screen on the planet. "You made several mistakes," Dr. Shin continued. "First, you assumed we were primitive. Second, you gave us access to all your systems. Third, you forgot that humans are very good at learning." Across the room, Vextar's weapons officer was frantically pressing buttons. "Sir, I can't access any of our systems. The computers aren't responding." "Fourth," Dr. Shin said, as if he could hear the conversation, "you forgot that we've been preparing for this day since the moment you voted to enslave us." Every computer on the Vorthak homeworld crashed at the same moment. Military systems, power grids, communication networks, transportation control. Everything that kept their civilization running stopped working in the space of 10 seconds. But that was just the beginning. In the crystal cities of Nexari Prime, Kim Hai-jin stood in the center of the main processing plant where she had worked as a cleaner for 2 years. Around her, Nexari workers were running in panic as their crystal technology began making horrible sounds. The sounds were not random. They were specific frequencies that Dr. Park's research had identified as resonant frequencies for Nexari crystal matrices. The same crystals that made up their technology also made up parts of their bodies. "Attention, Nexari," Kim said, speaking into the plant's communication system. "You are experiencing harmonic disruption of your crystal structure. This will not kill you, but it will be very uncomfortable until you stop moving." She was right. The frequencies made it impossible for the Nexari to coordinate their movements. They stumbled around like they were drunk, unable to fight or even walk properly. "We could have made these frequencies lethal," Kim continued, "but we chose not to." Think about that. On Paradesia, the luxury world where the galaxy's elite lived, Kim Yoon-hee was no longer serving tea. She stood in the Luminary Council chambers, wearing a human military uniform that she had hidden for 2 years. The Luminary Council members were writhing in their seats, their energy bodies flickering wildly. Kim was broadcasting a carefully designed pattern of mental static that disrupted their psionic abilities. "You used your mental powers to make other species obey you," Kim said. "Now you know what it feels like to have your thoughts scrambled." One of the Luminari managed to speak through the interference. How are you doing this? Kim smiled. Dr. Park studied your biology very carefully. Did you know that your psionic abilities depend on a specific brainwave pattern? And that humans can generate interference for that exact pattern? The truth was devastating. Every advantage the Luminari had used to dominate other species could be neutralized by simple, human technology. Across the galaxy, similar scenes were playing out. On worlds where humans had worked as slaves, they were now revealing the weapons and plans they had been building in secret. But the most shocking transformation was happening in the asteroid mining stations where Choi Min-ho had spent 2 years, pretending to be a broken slave. Min-ho stood in the command center of the station, surrounded by the bodies of unconscious Nexari guards. He had not killed them. Instead, he had used a gas that Dr. Park had developed from her study of Nexari biology. The gas made them sleep for exactly 24 hours. This is Mining Station 447 to all human operatives, he broadcast on the secret communication network. Primary target secured. Beginning Phase 2. Phase 2 was the deployment of what humans were calling the Great Leveler. Dr. Park had discovered that every alien species in the galaxy shared certain genetic markers. These markers made them vulnerable to a specially designed virus that would not kill them, but would make them sick for several weeks. Every alien species except humans. The virus spread through alien populations at incredible speed. Within hours, billions of aliens across hundreds of worlds were too sick to fight, too weak to operate their technology, too confused to coordinate any kind of response. Humans, completely immune to the virus, walked through alien cities like ghosts among the living dead. But even this was not the worst part. The worst part was the message that Dr. Shin broadcast to every surviving alien leader. You are probably wondering why we have not killed you, his voice said from every working communication device in the galaxy. The answer is simple. We are not you. On his prison ship, Admiral Kang Dae-ho had taken control of the entire facility. The Nexari guards lay unconscious in their own cells while human prisoners operated the ship's systems. Kang stood in the captain's cabin, looking out at the stars. In the distance, he could see alien ships floating dead in space, their crews, too sick to function. Admiral, one of his men reported, we're receiving surrender requests from 47 different species. Tell them to wait, Kang said calmly. We're not done yet. The final phase of the human plan was the most devastating of all. It was not a weapon. It was a choice. Across the galaxy, alien governments found themselves completely dependent on human slaves who were no longer slaves. The humans operated the power grids, the transportation systems, the food production facilities. Without them, alien civilization would collapse within weeks. But the humans did not abandon their posts. They did not let alien children starve or alien cities fall apart. Instead, they kept everything running while their former masters lay sick and helpless. On the Vorthak homeworld, the warrior clans watched in amazement as human workers continued to maintain their cities even though they could have destroyed them. The humans brought medicine for the sick aliens. They kept the power running. They made sure food was distributed. Why? General Vextar asked Min-ho when the human came to. Check on him in the medical facility. Min-ho looked down at the mighty Vorthak warrior, now weak as a kitten from the virus. Because we are not like you, he said simply. You enslaved us because you thought we were too violent to be free. We are showing you what real strength looks like. Dr. Park stood in her old laboratory, now fully equipped with technology she had designed using everything she had learned about alien science. Around her, Nexari scientists lay recovering from the virus while human medics cared for them. The biological weapon will wear off in a few days, she told them. You will be fine. Your children will be fine. Your species will survive. One of the Nexari managed to whisper, Why did you not kill us? Park looked at the alien for a long moment. Because killing you would make us like you, and we refuse to become the thing we hate. When the virus finally ran its course and the aliens began to recover, they found themselves in a galaxy that had completely changed. Every major installation, every important facility, every key piece of infrastructure was under human control. But the humans were not acting like conquerors. They were acting like caretakers. The galaxy's former slaves had become its guardians, and they had done it without becoming monsters. Admiral Kang stood in the same chamber where the aliens had voted to enslave humanity. But now the positions were reversed. Alien representatives sat in the gallery while humans occupied the central floor. "You have a choice to make," Kang announced to the assembled aliens. "You can continue to think of strength as the ability to dominate others, or you can learn what we have learned, that true power comes from lifting others up." The great irony was complete. The species that had been enslaved for their supposed violence had conquered the galaxy through mercy, and now they were offering their former masters something the aliens had never offered them, a chance to be better than what they were. The new Galactic Council met on Earth. Admiral Kang Dae-ho stood where the alien speaker had once stood, looking out at the representatives of 847 species. But this time, the aliens sat in the observer sections, while humans occupied the central floor. The reversal was complete, but not in the way anyone had expected. 3 years ago, you voted to enslave humanity, Kang began, his voice carrying clearly through the great chamber. You believed we were too violent to be trusted with freedom. Today we will show you what human justice actually looks like. Erenchi. The alien section's representatives shifted nervously. They had expected to be executed or enslaved in return for what they had done to humanity. Instead, they had been invited to this council session and treated with respect. It was more terrifying than any threat could have been. Dr. Shin Woo-jin stood next to a holographic display showing the current state of the galaxy. Every alien world was highlighted in blue, indicating they were under human protection, not occupation, protection. For the past month, human forces have maintained order across your worlds, Dr. Shin explained. We have kept your power grids running, your hospitals operating, your food distribution systems working. We did this while your own people were unable to function. General Vexitar of the Vorthax spoke up from the gallery. Why? His voice was still weak from the virus, but his confusion was clear. We enslaved you. We treated you like animals. Why did you help us? Kim Yun-hee, now wearing the uniform of Earth's Director of Galactic Affairs, answered him. Because that is what decent people do. We help those who cannot help themselves, even if they are our enemies. The chamber fell silent. This was not the response the aliens had expected from the species they had considered too violent for civilization. But helping you survive was not mercy, Admiral Kang continued. It was a test. We wanted to see if you were capable of learning. Dr. Park Soo-jin stepped forward, carrying a datapad with her research. During your illness, we studied your reactions carefully. Some of you were grateful for our help. Others were angry that we had defeated you. A few demanded to know when you would get your power back. She looked directly at the Nexari representative. Those reactions told us everything we needed to know about which species are ready to rejoin galactic civilization and which ones need more time to learn. The Nexari representative, a tall crystal being named Zix, spoke carefully. What do you mean by more time to learn? Choi Min-ho, now appointed as Director of Rehabilitation Services, smiled grimly. We mean exactly what you meant when you voted to enslave us. Some species are not ready for freedom. They need guidance. The meaning hit the alien representatives like a physical blow. They were about to experience what they had forced on humanity. But Admiral Kang raised his hand for silence. However, we are not you. We will not repeat your mistakes. He gestured to Dr. Shin, who activated a new holographic display. This one showed a complex chart with the names of all 847 species. We have divided your species into 3 categories, Dr. Shin explained. Green indicates species that showed genuine remorse and respect during our aid operations. Yellow indicates species that were neutral or confused. Red indicates species that showed continued hostility and demanded the return of their former privileges. About 2/3 of the species were marked in green. Most of the rest were yellow. Only about 30 species were marked in red. The green species will be welcomed back into galactic civilization immediately, Admiral Kang announced. You made a mistake, but you have learned from it. We will work together as equals. There was a collective sigh of relief from most of the alien representatives. The yellow species will undergo a probationary period, Dr. Shin continued. You will work alongside human supervisors to prove you understand the principles of cooperation and mutual respect. This is not slavery. You will be paid for your work, your families will not be separated, and you will have the opportunity to earn full independence. And the red species? General Vextar asked, though he seemed to already know the answer. Kim Yun-hee's expression was cold. The red species will experience what you gave us. You will work under supervision until you prove you have learned to value freedom for all species, not just your own. The difference was immediately clear. Unlike the alien enslavement of humanity, the human system included education, fair treatment, and a clear path to freedom. It was rehabilitation, not revenge. But the most shocking announcement was yet to come. Dr. Park stepped forward again. There is one more thing. During our research, we discovered something extraordinary about human biology compared to the rest of the galaxy. She activated another display showing genetic charts. Every species in this galaxy evolved along similar pathways. You all share certain biological markers that make you vulnerable to the same diseases, the same toxins, the same forms of biological warfare. The aliens leaned forward, sensing this was important. Humans are different. We evolved separately from all of you. We are immune to things that affect every other species, and we are vulnerable to things that do not harm you. She paused for effect. Evolution has made humans the perfect guardians for this galaxy. We can protect you from threats that would destroy you, while you can protect us from dangers we cannot survive. The revelation was staggering. Humanity was not just another species in the galaxy. They were biologically designed to be protectors. This is why we will not simply return power to you and walk away, Admiral Kang explained. The galaxy needs both human protection and alien diversity to survive. We propose a new system. The holographic display changed to show a new governmental structure. Humans will handle galactic defense, biological research, and crisis management, Dr. Shin said. Each alien species will govern their own worlds and manage their own cultures, but major decisions affecting the whole galaxy will be made jointly. A partnership, Kim Yun-hee added. Not domination by any one species. General Vextar stood up slowly. And if we refuse? Admiral Kang looked at him for a long moment. Then you will continue to live under human protection until you are ready to participate as equals. We will not force you to be free, but we will not allow you to enslave others either. The chamber erupted in discussion as alien representatives talked among themselves in hundreds of different languages. When the noise died down, Zix of the Nexari spoke for many of them. You have defeated us completely. You could rule us as tyrants. Why do you offer partnership instead? Dr. Park answered, him with a sad smile. Because we remember what it felt like to be slaves. We remember the hopelessness, the anger, the despair. We refuse to create that feeling in others, even in those who created it in us. Over the following weeks, most species accepted the new system. A few refused and found themselves under continued human supervision. But gradually, as they saw how the partnership worked, even the most stubborn species began to change their minds. The galaxy learned something it had never known before. that true strength was not the ability to dominate others, but the wisdom to know when not to use that power. 5 years later, Dr. Park stood in a park on New Seoul, watching her teenage children play with young aliens from a dozen different species. Human and alien children laughed together as they built impossible sculptures that combined human creativity with alien technology. Her daughter Jin A, now 17, was teaching a young Vorthak how to paint. The alien's claws were clumsy with the brush, but his determination was obvious. "Mom!" Jin-A called out. "Grok wants to know if humans really conquered the whole galaxy just to be nice to everyone." Park laughed. "Tell Grok that humans conquered the galaxy because we had to? But we chose to be nice because that's who we are." The young Vorthak thought about this for a moment, then said in careful Korean, "Humans are very strange." "Yes," Park agreed. "We are, and the galaxy is better for it." Across the city, Admiral Kang was meeting with alien ambassadors who had come to Earth to learn about human government. They wanted to understand how a species could gain ultimate power and then choose to share it. "It is simple," he told them. "We remembered what you taught us when you made us slaves. You taught us that power without compassion creates only suffering. So we chose compassion with power instead. The galaxy had voted to enslave humanity because they feared human violence. In the end, they learned that the most dangerous thing about humans was not their capacity for war. It was their capacity for mercy. And that mercy had conquered the galaxy more completely than any weapon ever could." History would indeed remember the day the galaxy voted to enslave humanity. But it would remember it as the day the galaxy finally learned what true civilization looked like. The students had become the teachers. And their first lesson was the most important one of all, that true strength meant protecting those who could, not protect themselves, even when those people were your enemies. The galaxy was finally ready to grow up, and humanity would be there to guide them, just as they had always been meant to do.